Hi, Renee. Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Renee.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, Donna.
There you go. Hey, Laura. Was muted.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can't hear you though. Oh, there we go.
Now you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how to share your screen?
Yes, I do. But you also gave me power as a presenter, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You should be fine to be able, you want to practice really quick?
Yeah, sure.
You have the PowerPoint open?
Yep,
Okay.
getting there.
How are you? You recovered from last week?
Oh, what a week.
Yeah. I know. I was thinking about you last night. I almost called you, but then I thought, I'm not going to call her late.
Yeah, last night was a tough one. I mean, last week.
Yeah.
We're closing out of a bunch of stuff, so you don't have to see it.
Yeah, the more you close out, the more it's easier to find what you need to grab.
Right? I know.
So while you're doing
And
that, I'll put a couple of notes in the chat room, and if you can ask when you're in.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Good job. And then end share is up at the top.
See
it's
it?
harder. It's harder to see the comments in the chat room when you're sharing your screen. So you might want to ask somebody to kind of keep an eye on the chat room for you.
Okay.
That's on the Zoom with you, and then or just tell people to unmute themselves and ask questions too.
Yeah, exactly. Like yesterday. That was a great call. That was a great,
Yeah.
I love the class yesterday.
Yeah, Chris was awesome, wasn't he?
Chris was awesome.
And so if you want to unshare for now, you can. There we go. So you know, we have like 2 more minutes before we get started, and I'll put a couple of notes in the chat room. If you could start out by introducing yourself, and
I sure will.
That would be awesome. And then of course, I would go ahead and start right at 9, but you know, people will jump in a few minutes late. It always happens.
That's fine. Oh, and I closed my PowerPoint. Of course I did. By accident. Now, you know, usually last time Renee had it and I just used it from her. And then she just gave me control.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay. Here we go. I found the presentation again.
Laura, let me ask you, is this something that you guys are going to do regularly? Because I think it's just been a phenomenal success.
I agree, Renee. And I think Ross and I have already communicated that we want to do it again. We usually in Gateway teach Ignite quarterly. And so we're looking at doing this again in August, likely.
Okay.
Yeah. And we would love to do it with all 3 offices. My idea is that we do Ignite together on Zoom, and then the rest of the day, the recommended schedule gets done individually in each office.
Absolutely. I think that's perfect. And I think it's a way of really leveraging our resources.
Yep.
People get tired of seeing the same instructors over and over and over again. So
I think this has been awesome.
It has. It really has. So good. Glad to hear it.
So let Elaine know that you're a fan of doing it to all 3 of us together again.
You know I will.
I'm sure she'll be excited about it too.
Yeah.
All right, it's 9 o'clock, Donna. I'll be in the background if you need me. But if you want to go ahead and get started and introduce yourself,
I
please
sure
do.
will.
Thank you.
Here we go. Everyone can see the screen? There's light on my face, sorry. There we go. Is that better? Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming and participating in the class. This is going to be a great class. I'm Donna Castillo. I'm at the Keller Williams office in San Jose with Laura Gleason. I also was a corporate marketing manager prior to my real estate life, and I did that for about 25 years. So the marketing class just kind of makes sense for me to present to everybody. We're going to spend about an hour on this class. And I got the wrong one. This is not language. We did language last time. It is marketing today. Let me stop sharing. Let me get the right presentation up. Sorry about that.
At least you found it right away.
I did. I know.
It's still early. Everybody drink a sip of coffee.
Yeah, please.
Now, are you okay with me muting everybody just because of background noise and they can unmute when they have a question?
Yeah.
So hold on. I'm going to mute everybody and then I'll unmute.
I want to say hi to Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Uh-oh. Okay, Donna, you should be, you're unmuted now, Donna. Okay?
Yep, that's fine. So we're back on marketing. So yeah, so I did the 25 years marketing. We have that, and that's why this class made sense for me. So we're going to be talking about marketing and prospecting, pros and cons, the costs, and what makes sense for you. And they're actually going to go into Command a little bit and look at a couple of really special features that Command has that helps you with your business. I'm going to put you above. I feel like I need to look at somebody when I'm presenting and pad you over to the side. And some great marketing materials that KW provides us makes it really easy for you to create some marketing pieces and promote yourself, your marketing messages, your branding, and really set yourself apart from all the other agents. And so with that said, we'll go to the first slide. And what we're going to focus on today, we're going to be focusing on growing your business and running your business. And growing is the lead generation part for buyers and sellers. And running your business, we're going to be talking about marketing seller listings. And so, you know, what's the purpose of marketing? Anybody want to comment on that? Feel free to just unmute yourself so I can hear you, see all those faces. Well, marketing is, you know, you have to have one outcome for everything you do, because you have to remember that your sales, we don't really talk about this, but your sales have to match your marketing effort and the money you spend. So you have to keep in mind that, you know, every dollar you spend on marketing has to generate more clients for you and generate more income, or why do marketing? And it's expensive as this, so you really have to track. And you know if you're successful, I call it you have to have a mindset of ABT, so you always have to be tracking and know your numbers around your marketing. So if you're going to be spending big dollars around your marketing, you have to understand what the results are, how many click-throughs you're getting, how many website visits, Google Analytics, and all those things. I think that could be a class in itself, but I just wanted to touch upon that because it's not only great to prospect and it's great to market, but marketing is an expensive activity, and you have to know what activity is giving you the results you need to get more clients, which in turn gives you more money in your checkbook, and that's what we're all after, right? And so you've already covered the basics in the Spark sessions. So the lead gen model, we've already gone through that. And so marketing is going to be a tool that enhances your prospecting efforts, or it really should come hand in hand. And then so like for an example, when you're going door knocking and you leave that flyer, your marketing piece, right, that you've used Command Design for, and you drop it on the floor and they didn't answer that door, that homeowner could potentially pick up that piece, give you a call, and then you could talk to them about, did they received it, they review it, and then start that conversation, right, to turn them into a client and turn them into a contract and turn them into, you know, money in your pocket. So anybody done some great marketing that felt that worked really well for you? Anybody want to talk? I know it's early.
I'll say something. This is
Yeah,
Renee.
please.
Hi, Tom. Anyway, what I'm going to say is that I have been farming a neighborhood through marketing, through sending them something every month. To me, that's marketing. That's not prospecting. That's marketing.
That's right.
Chris made that perfectly clear yesterday.
Yes, he did.
And the thing is that I've had very good success over time. I probably have gotten 8 to 10 pieces of business out of that every year. With that said, it took me a long time to build that relationship. It didn't, you know, I didn't send one piece and everybody said, okay, Renee, I'm going to work with you. It's taken, I've done it now for about 5 or 6 years.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's been consistent. You know, anytime they get this ugly yellow postcard, it's coming from me. And, you know, but it, again, the response wasn't immediate, but now the response is consistent.
That's amazing. So when I started in real estate, I didn't have a class like this. They, you know, they gave me a key to the office and go be a realtor. And so I went to a Tom Ferry class, and that was expensive in itself. And then they talked about farming. And so I signed up for a company called GeoFarming. And so we're talking way in the beginning, you know, I don't even have deals yet. I don't even have a pipeline. And they signed me up for $1,000 a month to do GeoFarming in Campbell, because that's where, you know, I was going to take over the market in Campbell by GeoFarming. And I tell you, after 6 months and at $6,000, I didn't get one deal. So like you said, it took you 5, you know, you've been doing it for 5 years, you're getting 8 pieces of business a year, plus referrals from that business. But could you imagine me spending 5 years at $1,000 a month? You know, it's crazy. And so you have to be really careful where you spend your marketing dollars, how much you're spending, and really tracking the success of each piece. So if you like, when you send out, probably in the beginning, when you sent out that marketing card, I mean, nowadays you can put a unique URL and track clicks if anybody's getting that card and clicking, or watch your website and see if you're getting more hits. You know, just whatever you do is just track. So just have that mindset of called ABT, and it's all about tracking. Okay. So we're going to talk about marketing versus prospecting. You heard a little bit about that yesterday with Chris. We're going to go a little bit deeper on the marketing. We're going to look at how to create a postcard using Command in the in design section of Command, and talk about creating success in your business, which is huge, right, for all of us, me as well. And then after this, you should be able to, you know, talk about marketing and prospecting, really understand what the difference is. Prospecting, the big difference is, here we go. Prospecting is free, right? It's, well, we're going to start with marketing. Marketing, as you can see here, money intensive. Like I was doing GeoFarming at $1,000 a month, or direct mail, you got the postage, the print, the design work, and getting it out there. It's passive, but it's a great way to start spreading out your value prop, as long as you're consistent, and you can expect long-term results. You're not going to have a mailer, which I did not understand at the beginning of my career, that one mailer is not enough. You know, like Renee was saying, she's been doing it for 5 years and getting 8 pieces of business, right? From the, I love that you do the ugly yellow card. Everybody knows it without even looking at it, that it's from her. But that's her value prop. Everybody recognizes that yellow card. They know it's from Renee. They don't even have to look at it. They know it's from Renee. Great marketing, right? And it differentiates herself from absolutely every other agent. They're not sending out an ugly yellow card, right? So it comes in the mail and they know. But prospecting, on the other hand, is really time intensive, right? So we're talking to Gary Keller. He says, double down. We're spending, 4 hours on prospecting. That's really time intense, right? It's proactive. You have your list. You're going after them, but you do get immediate results. So if you're calling and you go through your script and you end it with, so do you know somebody who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And they say yes, boom, you're off, right? You get your appointment with that client. And, once again, measure, see what's working better for you. Is it the marketing? Is it the prospecting? The combination of it? So let's say you're prospecting, you got to understand, you know, how many calls it takes to get somebody to say yes to an appointment. You know, out of, you know, 5 appointments, maybe 3 clients will actually meet with you. And out of those 3 clients, you get one actual listing and you close. And so understanding your numbers is understanding your business that's going to help you be more successful. But being proactive and prospecting is time intensive, especially now in this market. We got to hit it like 3 to 4 hours every day. Any comments? Tom's smiling. That's a good thing, huh, Renee?
I'll make one comment on that. The thing I learned through many years of working at that kind of approach, I'll tell you of failures, all right? The failure is one where you have to stay on it for 2 years or longer before you start really seeing results. And too many times, myself, others have given up on, let's say, a farm or something along that line where you're doing marketing in a specific area or a specific whatever, and you don't see the results, and it's too easy to get discouraged and giving it up. Where it's just around that corner where things start going in a much better positive way, as Renee mentioned. And so, yeah, so sometimes it takes time to get there. Of course, there's always the lucky person who starts out and gets 5 deals immediately. But you know what? That's not always the case. So it takes some time to get it done, and you have to stick with it once you start.
You're totally right. I'll give you one quick example, then we'll move on because it's already 9:15 and we only have an hour. But I sold a house in Mountain View. It was my girlfriend's house on Farley, and I sold it. And I knew the guy next door. He hadn't lived in that house for 10 years. And I knocked and mailed and knocked and mailed and knocked and mailed. But guess what? I wasn't consistent. I didn't do it for long enough, because guess what? The agent that bought that house got the listing next door. And I'm like, what the hell? I've been trying to get that guy forever to just talk to me. And he was just, little did I know that when I was doing it, he was doing it as well. He just did it for longer. And he was persistent and he got the deal. And that was 1.4. So that really hurt not even hurt my ego, but it hurt my pocket too, right? So that was not a good thing. So hopefully we get understanding what the marketing and the prospecting and the differences between the two, and with the pros and a little bit of pros and cons. We'll go a little bit deeper on that. Segue, think deeply about marketing. I did not intend to do that. So after this section, we're gonna be able to identify the pros and cons and the uses and review some marketing methods. And I think we're kind of discussing it now, which is great. And so this is actually, this information is actually in your participant handbook as well. You can take a look at it and see what works and what doesn't. For you personally, if you're a newer agent, then you got to figure out, you know, the 3-legged stool, right? Figure out what you want to focus on. Because not only what you focus on expands, but you know, you're going to get a sense of what works and what doesn't work for you. So prospecting, once again, that's the free, but it's time intense, but you could get immediate results. You have on the right side, you have the marketing. That's expensive, right? And it's passive and it just takes time. And then you have a combination of both in the middle there. And so in the prospecting, you know, we're doing a lot of this right now. We're doubling down. We're phoning, phone, our sphere and our sphere and family members and anybody we can get a hold of, right? And doing face-to-face activities. And you'll see the face-to-face is more under, let's see, networking events is number 8. It's kind of hard to do that now, but we can use Zoom to network, right? I did a panel discussion using Zoom, worked really well. And you're actually able to, you can record a session like this one's being recorded and post it on your Facebook page, send it out as a link on an email, works good. FSBOs and expired, you know, the circle prospecting, we talked about that. We talked about my epic failure at not doing it long enough or consistently enough to get that 1.4 next door to my listing. Community outreach, my community outreach is working with the high school. I actually live behind Gunderson High School, and I do, when they do the, what do you call it, the backpack drive, you know, I do a drive for teachers. And I tell the neighborhood to drop things off on my porch. I have a table set up, they drop it off, I package it and take it to the teachers at Gunderson High School. But you know, pick your cause, and it's a great thing to do community outreach. People are loyal to you when they see you coming from a place of service and not just saying, ready to buy and sell or invest in real estate, right? The conversation will naturally come like it does in a forward conversation. Key relationships, you know, talk to your lenders, talk to title companies, talk to the stagers, make sure they're okay first, and really that relationship, so that when they do have somebody that they know that needs to buy, sell, and invest, they're going to refer you. I've gotten, let me see, probably 3 deals over the last year from a lender. And so that worked well for me. Teaching and speaking, so here I am. You know, we talked about the door-to-door, can't really do door-to-door right now. I've got to find other ways to do it. Booths and kiosks, can't really do that right now. The events are at a halt, but one of the ones that I do a booth at the bridal events, and I call it Say Yes to the Address. And people come by because, you know, when you get married, first thing you want to do is buy a house and have a kid and live happily ever after. I've done that a couple times. So on the marketing side, expensive. I think it's funny that they said on offline advertising, I love that they still list yellow pages. Does anybody list the yellow pages anymore? I thought that was strange. But they do have billboards and magazines. We all see these things, right? We talk about online advertising, radio. Radio works really well for Spanish radio. Little tidbit there. Direct mail, very expensive. Giveaways, again, costly. I think it's, I don't know, not even corporations are doing a lot of press releases anymore. They go straight to social media now when they have an announcement, but maybe some people want to do a press release. And then in the middle there, right, you can combine the farming, the events. So you have the farming that's expensive. You have events that's prospecting. Maybe if you're attending, it's not a real expensive activity. I belong to a couple of networking groups that we used to do face-to-face, but now we do them on Zoom calls. We actually do speed networking. So it's only 12 people at a time. And we get on a Zoom call and everybody introduces themselves to each other. And you talk about your business and what you do on, what you focus on. And you're able to get, you know, 11 contacts in that room and then develop relationships afterwards. So that's, and I found that one through meetups. So that's turned out to be a really great event for me to participate in as a networking activity. And then, you know, you can purchase names and addresses and phone numbers. So anything else you want to add? Is there anything that's missing? I think there's some extra things in here that, I don't know. I think it's funny, yellow pages. Does anybody look at the yellow pages anymore? I don't know.
Hey, Donna, I wanted to make a comment. This is AJ.
Yes.
You talked about radio and then you talked about Spanish radio. We have an agent in our office also, and all these regional radios in different languages, I'm looking at them too, because he has been getting a lot of business from the radio ads, especially on the regional languages, kind of the more ethnic languages and stuff.
You know, if you look at stats in the United States, Hispanics is the fastest growing group of home ownership, first-time home buyers. And so, and advertising on the Spanish radio station isn't as expensive, and you get a lot of play there because people aren't paying attention to the Hispanic population, even though they're the fastest growing homeowners. So something to consider if you speak Spanish, I guess, right? And they don't always only speak Spanish. People have that misconception. A lot of people, my mom speaks English, but she watches Spanish TV and likes Spanish radio. So she could be somebody that could get a lead, call me, and I could still have a conversation with her in English. So something to think about, right? Even your social media, you can have it in a different language if you wanted to go after that Spanish or Hispanic group. Anyways, we can go on and on about that one. So we're good? Any questions, comments? Thanks for that, AJ. Good. So next one, I gotta keep moving you guys around. It says take 30 minutes. We're not gonna take 30 minutes, obviously, because we're already at 9:20 and I wanna be respectful of everybody's schedule. But I wanna guide you through some of these marketing questions and get your answers and just get some feedback from you. it'd be great to hear what you think. And so the first one is, how do you know where the customer is and how do you meet them there? What do you think? Anybody? For me, it was my sphere, so I knew how to get a hold of them, just called them. Hey, I'm in real estate now, what do you got? That one was an easy one. But it could be your farm. It's where are your customers? You feel like they're gonna be at that bridal fair, right? Identifying who you want to work with, and then I always create like an avatar. So if I want to go after, we talked about Hispanic radios, Hispanic events. There's a lot of things you can do around the Hispanic community if that's your target audience, then where you want clients. If you want to do first-time home buyers, then a bridal fair might make sense, right? If you want people in your neighborhood, then you pick a farm. That's your farm, and you're going to spend how many years, Renee? How long did it take you to get that first deal after you were farming in that area?
It didn't, and it didn't take long. It only probably took, I don't want to make everybody think it's going to be half of this. It did only take about a month or something.
Wow.
But again, that was an outlier. That was someone who was just, waiting for someone to reach out. Again, to get a consistent, I spend, now I spend about $700 a month mailing to there.
Mhm.
So one, I need to get at least one a month or one, one every couple of months to make it worthwhile.
Right.
So the other place you can know where customers are is like, when we used to do those things called open houses,
Yeah, that's a good
remember
one.
those? Schlepping signs around, putting them out, those old days. Anyway, so an
Right.
open house would be another one.
Open houses, exactly. Anybody else have a comment? No? Okay. And then how do you communicate your value prop? Anybody want to talk to that? So for me, I communicated absolutely every piece that I print, mail, my signature line, my for sale signs, it's everywhere. And I communicate it exactly the same, consistently with my name, and I'm a realtor and I'm the problem solver. And I actually get people that I don't know say, oh, you're that problem solver, right? And they laugh and we talk about it and I explain why I call myself that. And so it takes time, right? In the beginning, you don't know what you want to be as a realtor. Then you kind of figure it out and you test it, because it's all about testing, right? Is it going to resonate with your audience? Does it make sense? And then you start communicating it like crazy.
Hey, Donna, I have a comment on how to communicate your value proposition. I'm a little bit of a newer agent. I started about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And one thing that I learned about communicating your value proposition is the value proposition that you communicate through print or through at open houses or anywhere, which is your marketing, you have to be very comfortable in delivering it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not comfortable, then it'll look like somebody else's value proposition. So it took a little bit of time to figure out what I am comfortable at in communicating, maybe a few months. And then once I figured out what it is, then it started flowing.
And it feels good for you?
It was very good. You had to, as you said, you have to come where your strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have strength and when you have knowledge of the subject that you are talking to them, mine was, I had good construction background. I had good numbers. I was good at numbers because I'm an engineer. I came from high tech. So all those, I took all that and I just said, okay, I'm going to speak to what I know best, and that will resonate with the clients much more than anything else. And no, yeah, it has had a lot of success, and I've now crafted a message that I think works very well for me.
That's great. Congratulations, right?
Thank
Sometimes when that message isn't right, it feels like, you're wearing somebody else's suit, right? Or like you're lying about yourself. So you have to find something that's authentically you. Does anybody want to share the process on how they figured out what they wanted to communicate? Does anybody have a specific process? Kind of just did it? I personally send out an email to like 20 of my friends, And I said, give me 10 words that you think describes me. And I found the 3 to 5 that was consistent. And then that's where I started crafting the message. And then I went back and forth with that same group of people to see if it made sense until it was something that I felt comfortable with and they felt that was believable. It's kind of the process that I went about. Okay.
It's interesting, Donna, that you say that, and in marketing, since I can hear when you speak, you are like coming from a marketing background. It's what we call the testing the messages and stuff. And I was running my own startup, so I used to do that where I would send 4 different messages or something to 4 different friends. And I did that when I was sending an email also out where I told people, hey, I'm switching to real estate last year. I actually sent those emails out to close friends to say, hey, does it resonate or not? And then made changes and stuff. So it definitely resonates with me what you are saying.
Good, good. You know, it's ABT, right? It's all about testing. And, you know, even today I will send out emails, you know, half of my database will have one subject line, the other half will have a different subject line. And I just measure and see what's working better, what makes more sense. So, you know, always test and measure. How do you come from a contribution or connect in a meaningful way? Any comments on that one?
I tried to, I'm Maggie, by the way. Hi.
Hi, Maggie. Thank
Santa
you for
Cruz.
responding. Thank you.
Sure, Santa Cruz office. The word meaningful to me, it's obviously relative to who you're talking to. So I start off with questions about them and their interests. And then I say, oh yeah, I have that same, you know, problem, or I used to work there. I know exactly what you mean. So it's all about trying to find commonality very early on, like in the first 3 sentences of a conversation. You have to find a hook there, some kind of common ground, like you both were in the same industry, or you grew up in the same area, or you know, you love looking at houses, or I just try to ask questions super early on, find something of common ground, and then that builds trust. And then whatever you say after that, you've established trust. And so even if you kind of stumble a little bit, it doesn't feel quite as awkward.
Right, right. And you're making it about them and not you, right? Which is, you know, I'm Donna, I'm the best realtor, I'm a top producer, I'm a marketer.
Yeah, I hate that.
Don't you hate that, right? And I think in this environment or this climate right now, you could start off with, you know, conversations of, you know, how are you handling this SIP? You know, what are you doing to keep your kids busy? Or, you know, there's a lot of commonality. You know, how many puzzles can you do, right? I mean,
or yeah, I'll say I have 2 cats, no kids. Like, oh really? I have cats too. Oh, what's your cat's name? You know, so something as simple as, you know, basic. Are you married? Are you not married? Just super basic
go a little
stuff
bit deeper, right? That's what
to build a connection as a bridge, and then you can cross that bridge throughout the conversation.
That's great. That's in conversation. Anything else? Anybody? Oh, and you said a cat. I want you to know that the animal rescue place by where I live in San Martin has no pets. They've all been adopted because I guess people are home. Is that, anyways, there's a little tidbit. I thought that was hysterical.
That's
Anybody else about talking about coming from contribution, connecting in a meaningful way? We're good there? I think especially in this environment, I think we know that we have to come from a place of contribution because of what everybody is going through. And that's really that common thread that's going through all of us, you know, nationwide, right? So we can have that conversation. How important do you think branding and aesthetic consistency is in your marketing?
I think
People look for those little postcards that are yellow.
That's right. You gave a perfect example, right?
And I send I send monthly to about 125 people a newsletter, and it's always on goldenrod paper. And again, you know, people know that when that goldenrod folded thing comes, it's the newsletter. And so I think it's important.
It is. And Renee, where do you get the content for your newsletter? Do you write it yourself or?
Oh, hell no. People think I do, and I think it's so funny.
That's
No,
perfect branding then.
I get it actually from by referral only. They actually do it for me. And in fact, considering this situation right now, I'm actually thinking of having them send it to me because I did send it for me. I missed last month because my husband won't let me go out of the house. Anyway, missed last month. And so I need to, yeah, laugh, Tom. So I need to actually, I want to get it, I'm going to have them do it, but I do buy it.
There you go. That's
I have
cool.
a question about this, Donna.
Sure.
For anybody, do you notice that this is more important for different demographics? Like, you know, like a millennial demographic or like older, like, do you notice that aesthetics and branding is different for different age groups of people or different?
Well, the branding activity, no. But if it's millennial, then you better have the white cabinets and gray walls somewhere in the image that you're promoting, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, an older couple might have a picture of them with grandkids. So the imagery, you know, kind of, you have to talk to the audience, right?
Yeah.
But consistent branding is important. So if you have a, let me think, the yellow paper, it's always yellow paper. She's never going to do blue paper because they won't know who she is now.
Yeah.
Right. So that's consistent branding, even down to the paper. And the consistency, if Renee wasn't doing it every month for 5 years, she would not be getting 8 deals, right?
Yeah.
I only did it for 6 months, didn't get a deal and walked away. Probably, you know, in Campbell. So, you know, those are probably 1.8, you know, $2 million houses. Could I have gone longer? I couldn't because I was a new agent, didn't have the money, right?
Yeah.
So you got to measure and, you know, and like, what is it? Red light, green light spending.
Yeah.
Make sure you're spending and measuring. I wasn't doing it correctly in the beginning, but this is huge. So
a quick comment on Allison's comment is that depending on the area, what I figured out, Allison, was the area that I was going after, what was the demographics like, and then created, and then where I was marketing. And then when I was going in and creating my marketing material and I was spending money, giving it to somebody, I created the material based on the demographics that I was going on. So mine were mostly engineers, techies and stuff like that, which you can equate to millennials or whatever, you know, the same kind of taste, same kind of stuff. So the marketing team that I had hired, marketing company, we went back and forth on the logo saying, okay, it should have sharper edges and it should have a modern, you know, fonts and things like that. So it just depends on where you are marketing to and stuff. So also.
Engineers want modern fonts. When did that start? They want like, what are trends for the last 5 years, right?
Well, that of course I told you, Donna, that I do raw data to them and they run analysis all night and then come back and say, hey, this is the price you should run it by. So that is obviously a given, but they all like that gray and white things that you talk about. So you know that they are into that modern gray, white.
Modern, sleek look, move-in ready. They don't like backyards. They don't want to maintain a backyard.
Nothing.
They
Absolutely.
And so that's so Allison, well, how are you focusing on millennials?
No, I'm focusing on anybody who wants to give me business right now.
What area are you focusing on?
I mean, right now I'm kind of stuck in where I'm in Willow Glen. So I was.
Valerie Mine is all over your area, right?
But yeah, exactly. But right now it's really just with my sphere. And so I'm connecting with social media. So, you know, wherever I can meet them on that is what I'm trying to do. And I also have like my green niche. So doing things that are eco-conscious, eco-friendly and basing it around that too. So right now it's just trying to get my name out there, but there's not really a demographic that I'm really trying to focus on right now. It's just whoever.
So if you're like in Willow Glen, let me see. So you look at, when you're online, look at Los Gatos Eats, and they highlight all the restaurants in that area, how you can order online, what's their menu, what's the cost, and what are their hours. And that person's not a realtor, but they're like a social, they don't drive any traffic back to anything else besides just providing information. So they're coming from a place of contribution, and maybe that's giving them business. I haven't followed them all the way, but Los Gatos Eats what a great time to focus on Willow Glen Eats or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
What are the restaurants open on the main downtown area and even around Willow Glen?
Yeah.
Go to them. And I'll share an app with you called Cato, where you can create a little mini website on your Facebook where if people look, they provide the information, you get a text. So I can share that with you later.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'd like to add something to that, though. Something that I heard Allison say is that she is interested in marketing to the green community.
That's huge.
So what I would do is actually, number one, I would talk to a title company to see if there's a way they could do a search of a demographic that way.
Yeah.
And then the other thing would be, based on what Donna was saying about posting, start posting about the green companies or the companies out there that will help you get green,
Mhm.
so that you're looked at as the resource for the green community.
Yeah.
I
So
think
anyway.
there's some greenhouses that have been built in Willow Glen too lately. So you find out who that construction company is, interview them.
Yeah.
Do a Zoom call with them, tape it, download it, put it on your Facebook. What a great way to highlight that you're focusing on green. And you had some great, I didn't think about going to a title company, Renee. That's a good idea too.
Thank
Donna,
you.
Donna,
Yeah,
I have this is Nairi, sorry.
that's fine.
So I've always kind of been skeptical and hesitant with farming, just because there's so much saturation of realtors here already as it is. But now my thinking is that, well, with everything that's happening, like, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, some will not make it through, right? Because they'll have to choose other things to do in order to survive. So that was my conflict. But then choosing a farm, because there's so much saturation. Like, I know for me, before I even got into real estate, I would get all this stuff and I would just like dump it, honestly. Like, I would just kind of throw it in the garbage.
Okay, so because you don't need it until you need it.
Right.
That's one thing, right? So if you're farming an area, they're going to throw it away until they need you. And then when they need you, they're going to pick up that card like they do for Renee, and they're going to call you and set up an appointment. When you say it's saturated, I don't think there's one area out there that's, and this includes me. I'm not farming right now, but that's doing it. Well, Renee, don't do Renee's area, whatever her farm is, because she's doing it consistently. But I live in Vista Park in San Jose behind Gunderson, like I mentioned, and I don't get anybody's card consistently, ever. And I find that interesting. So don't feel that like Valerie mine in Willow Glen, but there's other realtors. You just got to do it better, more consistent, and you're going to get business.
Right.
And what's going to differentiate yourself, right?
One of the things too to add to it is people, when they think of farms, they always think geographic. Farms can be demographic.
That's right.
So there might be, again, I would, title company, I'm sure that the title company marketing reps are still working. So
Yeah.
now's the time to get in touch with them and say, hey, help me figure out what a good demographic would be for me, and how I can do a slice in the, slice up the, anyway, how I can work and find those people. That could be anyway, I'm just
So
saying.
you're right. So I love seniors. Just personally, I love older people. I can sit there and talk to them. I love seniors. And so I had them go, and anybody that owns a house, I think probably over 25 years, they're probably over 55, 65. I like them like 75, where they have great stuff. I do. And I target them, and I help, and their mailers are about downsizing, going into maybe into an active senior place. They're usually not, they don't like being called seniors, understanding that. Active agers is what they like to be called. And partnering with, let's say, I partnered with Atria for a couple of events. It's the new one that's being built on Almaden Expressway and Blossom Hill or something like that. And so but I like seniors. So maybe yours is the green, right? And that's kind of broad, but that's okay. There's a lot, millennials are all about being green and not, they're mad at our generation because we're not leaving them with a planet that's in good shape, right? And so it's really important to the millennials. everything green. So Palo Alto too. Palo Alto has a lot of greenhouses right now, everywhere. So that's another thing. Just find out who's doing construction around green and what that green means. You can even go down to the not just the construction, but the what are they using inside the house? How are they using lighting? How are they using water? All those things, and find out who those people are. Maybe you can't find an interview, but you can give information on whatever that is, right, to help you. Anyways, there's some great ideas. Oh, we did a little mastermind there.
Yeah, thank you.
And then how do you follow up with leads generated from your marketing? This is an easy one. Come on. Somebody, Allison, when you get a lead, what do?
You call them, email them.
Follow up now, right? I mean, I think you've heard the studies say, you know, that people usually talk to one agent, and that's usually the first agent, and then that's who they engage with, right? And so you want to be that first person that follows up with them if you ever get.
Don't wait till tomorrow to call them back.
Never.
Yeah.
ever. Because there's a lot, you know, the other agents are doing the same thing. That's like a FSBO. Try calling them that first day. Everyone's calling them. It's that consistency. After 8 days, less and less people, 9 days, 10 days, less and less people start calling. So the person that's consistent calls every day will eventually win and on expired. Does anybody on the call focus on expireds or FSBOs? Okay, we'll get going then. Next one, taking action. Let's see, this one's going to be created a piece of marketing using designs and commands. So has anyone not done that? Everyone's done it? I don't have to do it? We can just keep going? Oh, we got 10 minutes. Okay. Let me show you real quick. I'm going to command real fast and going back to Zoom. Share screen. Why is it coming up? Sorry about that. Be patient with me a little bit. I just want to share command. I don't want to subject you to my entire database or whatever I have on the screen. Weird. Oh, here it is. There we go. So can you all see it? So this is my command. You know, I got a couple of action items. Obviously, they're in yellow. If you want to design a piece of marketing collateral, you'll see that the new designs are here. You can click through these, preview, customize, and use them. I love this. This is new. They didn't have this when I first started, so I'm totally digging that they have that here. But then you could also go to InDesign here. And these are my templates, right, that I've created using their InDesign. Here is use that to create a new, if you want to print, you create print. And all these will take a while, so I don't want to take up too much time because they're down to 15 minutes. And so there's a technology person probably in every office. If not, I can help. I can walk you through it and spend a little bit more time with you if you need that help, more than willing. Renee's great in San Jose, so she's been able to help me a lot too when I've gotten stuck. But there's one of the nice things too, I just want to show you really quick, is you create things for an email, for a landing page, for social media, for print, for video. So you have all these capabilities here within Command, which is absolutely amazing. Nobody else has that. And then, like I said, this is the button to create a new piece. You can print them. This is my dashboard, so I can easily open something up, save it under a new name, customize it for a new property, and then use it for print or social. Edit. This is great. So I hope everyone takes time to play with this if you haven't already. It's a great tool. So when we're talking about marketing being expensive, this is a way for you to create a really professional looking piece on your own versus hiring a designer to do it for you. So, you know, this is you know, we could print for free in the office. You get your cost is getting some nice paper, some yellow, don't use blue paper or whatever it is, and make it happen for yourself at a really low cost. So this is one way to do it. So I wanted to share that with you. And if we go back to the presentation, open the wrong one. Not as fast as Chris was yesterday, am I? Okay, let me go down to, so we're going to look at some other pieces. I'm going to share again. I wish I would just share my whole desktop, right? Sorry about that, folks. Be patient. Getting there. And share. And going back to the PowerPoint. And share. There we go. We got it. Okay. And we're going to do slideshow. And so here's an example of a piece that was created. And I should do it as a slideshow. Hold up here. There we go. Here's a piece that was created. I think it's for an open house, not sure. What do you think is, I already gave it away, so I think it's for an open house. What do you think you can do to improve this piece based on all the discussions we've been having already? Anybody? So go ahead, who was gonna talk?
Well, your name, your contact information.
Good. Yes, exactly. Your contact information. There's a font right here that's really hard to read and it's granulated. Join us on Sunday. Which Sunday? I don't know which Sunday. KW, kind of blurred. You can't really see that it's KW Partners. I hope that this is a house that's really common in that area. So that's important. Right now, also we talked about branding. So if I want to show a miscellaneous marketing piece that's not specific to a home, at least to a home that you can find in Willow Glen, let's say. Or, you know, for me, I'm in Vista Park, so I have a 2-story, so a house that kind of looks like mine. I don't want to do a beautiful house in, you know, New Hampshire for my marketing piece here in San Jose. So that's really important. And then join us. And then really the call to action. So you could potentially say, you know, click here to register for a private preview, maybe. You know, because we want to track. We don't want to just mail this out and hope and pray that people show up. So if you're seeing some activity on your website, or if the invite is part of this, and you want people to register and no one's registered, what do I need to do to make sure that my open house, that you have a mega open house, not just a sign and you open the door and people walk in, right?
I would also put some kind of a little stronger incentive, like either snacks provided, or if you don't want to do something like that, then something about the house, like, it's, you know, it's swimming pool or vaulted ceilings or eating kitchen, or just try to think of something. Because to me, this is just like, it's a generic looking house, and there's no information about what the incentive is. Like, is it just an open house? There's no reason for me to go. I don't know.
Yeah, if I'm looking, I don't know if this is a 3-bedroom, but I'm looking for a 5-bedroom. Or I'm looking for square footage, or is there a pool, no pool, how big's the lot? There's nothing.
Why is
but I am invited.
Yeah, what makes that house so special, basically?
Right. What makes your open house so special, right? And this is just one piece of the old open house, but yeah, you're getting it. So here's another one. Things are heating up in Gem Heights. I wonder where Gem Heights is. It must be in Puyallup. Does anybody know where that's at? I have no idea. What do you think of this piece, and what do you think we can do to improve it? What's the audience? Any ideas?
I mean,
Once
there's
again, you know, we talked about no contact, no
There's no
contact,
agency.
right?
and that's in Washington.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no agent's name or anything on there.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see an arrow. You know, which house are you talking about?
Well, things are heating up in Gem Heights, but check this out, average days in the market, I don't know. That's like a big question mark. You know, what do you mean not applicable? 0 would have been better than NA, right?
I think he's just talking about homes in general.
Yeah,
Our
it's not
homes,
specific, right? It's not specific to a
things are
house.
heating up
Yeah.
in Gem Heights. He's talking about in general. So
In the
this is a
neighborhood.
neighborhood that he's talking about. It's not a particular home that's for sale. He's just talking about an area. So maybe he doesn't have a listing in that area. So that's my point.
But you can still find out how many, you know, oh, there's nothing that's the average sold price. You know, yeah, so not a lot of information. I would think when you talk about who was it that said, when I get those cards, I just throw them away. This is one that has no information. This one would definitely go in the garbage for me, right? Okay, got 10 minutes.
Yeah,
but
telephone number or email address, something would help.
Website or, you know, like I remember how we said, what's the purpose of marketing? There's only one purpose, right? It's to get appointments. And to get an appointment gets you a contract gets you paid. So there's no call to action. What do I do with this information? You know, it could have had something, call me if you want to know what's the value of your home, or for a private preview of those 4 acts, something, you know. So there's nothing here that would incent anyone to engage with you and sit down and have a face-to-face with you, or ask you for a home eval or something. So no call to action. Always have a call to action. You don't even have, you know, we talked about ABT and testing and measuring. There's nothing even to measure. The only thing he can measure here is that he sent it to X amount of homes. And maybe he'll get lucky. We'll see. Here's another one. It's all in the details. I love this. It's all in the details. What do you think? Oh, there's no details.
Yeah, and what's going on with that vacant land? It looks terrible.
It looks like it's on fire, right? So yeah, so what do you think the purpose of this marketing piece is?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, right?
I think it was a template that was supposed to be used for something that they didn't execute.
Yeah, this one I just have, you know, did like just listed. I just, you know, vacant lot, how big is it? This one's square footage, and this one has no information, right? Because it's pending, but it could be a good way to, yeah, no call to action, nothing to measure. So good, I'm glad we're all on the same page. And so we talked about, you know, I hope that you all take advantage and go into designs and create a marketing piece. And once again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me or somebody in your office in San Jose. It's Renee that can help us through that piece. Then we have tech demos where we do paid ads, emails, direct mail. You can do emails now through Command, which is great. You'll be using MailChimp. I haven't made that transition yet. My database is still in Constant Contact, and I mail it out through there, and I measure it using Constant Contact. But you can do direct mail, your social media posts with your paid ads. I've done a couple of those, and I've been able to measure and see what kind of activity those Facebook ads are getting. And you can do quick posts, and you'll see in this slide on the right, they have already created posts and cards that you could potentially click, customize, and use either as a posting or as a printed piece, or you can go into designs where I showed you earlier and create your own piece and use it in the back end here. But right now we're going to be running out of time, and I want to stick to that timeline. But again, feel free to call, ask me, or Renee in our office. And I don't know, who is it in Santa Cruz? Do we know? That's okay. Let us know. And
Who's doing what in Santa Cruz?
who's the tech expert in Santa Cruz?
Oh, I don't know, Renee. Who was that? I'm trying to remember.
Jason Flynn and Jordan Thorpe. Jason Flynn and Jordan Thorpe. Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you do. But there's also a lot of classes too. So if you go on KW, there's lots of videos and how-tos there as well. Okay, and then So, and then finally, we're gonna go into your daily any ahas that I hope this wasn't the same old and you didn't feel like you learned anything. I hope you had some aha moments. Did anybody have any aha moments? Anything?
Yeah, we'll just make sure that your marketing stuff has contact info. And I liked your say yes
Yeah.
to the address.
You like that one? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the whole backdrop that looks like for selfies, but it's real wedding. Anyways, that's a fun one. Good.
Okay. It's kind of like getting back to some of the things that were in front of you before, and you've kind of like maybe got away from it for a while. I mean, just a few things that I picked up on today were, Donna, you had mentioned, what are the 10 best words that would be used to describe yourself for your statement, and that's something that has been run past me before, I'm sure, but as time goes on, you forget some of these things, and it was great to reacquaint myself with that. Talk to your audience. Who's in front of you? What is the group of people that you're marketing to? What do they look like? It might be age, it might be style, it could be a number of things, but that's another thing that I made comment. And then Renee mentioned something about while you're out there marketing, she said, sometimes it's better to do demographics than actual geographics. And sometimes we look at 600 homes and we look at that and say, well, okay, I'm going to do 600. Well, maybe there should be something else that you might consider rather than just an area of 600 homes. So just those are some notes that I put down here today that kind of really struck a note with me. And as I said, that's been there before. But as this person gets to, let's say, a more mature age, it helps to have somebody clunk them in the head and remind them about that. So thank you for doing that today, Donna and Renee and everybody else that contributed. I appreciate it.
Yeah, marketing is expensive as it is. So, why recreate the wheel? Really just, pick something you like, wash, repeat. And that's going to save you on headaches and cost and money. And, it's just really look around and see what's been going on, what's been successful. Find that, like what AJ said, find that suit that fits you or those heels that fit you and try it and go for it and measure it. And if it's not, then pivot and find something that is you, that works for you. Because everyone's a little, like for me, I'm not crazy about door knocking. So I'm okay not door knocking right now because that wasn't my favorite thing to do. I like talking to people better over the phone than door knocking, but that's just me. So let's see. So the ahas, we talked about that real quick. Thank you for everybody's input, and don't be shy if you want to add something. And then we're just going to go through the daily success habits really, really quick because I know you've all heard this. Who's doing it though? Tom, are you doing it? Add 10 contacts to your command. Have at least 10 conversations a day. Handwrite notes. People, I'm telling you, people love handwritten notes. They still do because you just don't get them anymore, right? And there's you can virtually preview homes now. So continue to, if you're in Willow Glen, Allison, make sure you know exactly what's available in Willow Glen and the prices and the locations and know your neighborhoods. And for me, that's always challenging because I have no sense of direction. So for me to understand a neighborhood, it's super hard. It really is. So that's always a challenge for me. Handwritten notes. I also use, if I have something to, Mother's Day's coming up. Maybe Mother's Day cards, set them out, right? That's going to be more for 10. You can start now and get them ready to mail out in time for Mother's Day. But this is really, if you could do this, this is going to get you on track to get listings when we come out of this, right? Because there's going to be a lot of clients that are going to be abandoned by their real estate agent. Like I think, was it Renee? Or no, Maggie, you said that. Or I think so. It was like an 80-20 rule, but those 80s, a lot of 80s are going to go away. and there's gonna be abandoned clients. And
I think
just
it was
there for the
Renee.
taking.
Probably Renee that said that. It sounds
Yeah,
like
okay,
a
I'm
Renee
sorry.
thing as before I joined the call.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry about that. I don't remember who said it, but I remember somebody said it. And scripts. I know everybody hates to do scripts. I did in the beginning because I would always say, I would never talk like that. I would never, ever say anything even remotely like that, right? But the idea of scripts is really to memorize and internalize. Once you internalize it, then you put your flavor, your personality, your spin on it, because now you know how to engage with the client. And once you know how to engage, you know what to say. You're not just worried about, oh God, what am I going to say next? You know what you're going to say next, because you're ready with your script. You're ready with any objections they might give you. You know what the answers are going to be, and you're going to say them confidently, right? And in your tone and in your voice. And when people are talking to you, not only are you hearing what they're saying, but you also are watching what they're saying through their body language, right? And so when you know, when you're confident and you know your script, you're able to step back and look at the whole picture and not just be spinning your head going, oh my God, what am I going to say next? Oh, I can't believe she asked me that now. What do I say? And then you hum and a lot and I don't know. And so you want to really instill that confidence in that person that you're talking to. So it helps you in your lead generation. Like I said, it covers motivation. So when you're talking to somebody, are they a millennial, first-time home buyer? Are they a senior that wants to downsize? Do they have to move because of a job? Understand who's going to be the decision maker on the house, right? Usually the female, right? But understanding that helps you close deals, because right, everything we do is for closing a deal. It has one purpose: is to close a deal, put money in the bank, and then speak in terms that customer understands. So I learned this through my kids. I have 3 kids. I can't talk to all 3 of them exactly the same way. They're 3 separate personalities. And if I talk to my middle child like I do to my oldest child, we're in the hugest argument ever. So understanding that, right? You're going to talk to them in a way that they want to hear you. You're going to mirror them, mirror their body language. And then when you have that, it builds confidence. And then once you build confidence, the lead generation gets easier. The objection handling becomes easier. And you're going to closing deals is going to be easier. So scripts are super, super important. Any comments? I know I said a lot there, but I can't even stress how important scripts are to internalize, not to memorize and speak like a robot at all. Anybody have comments about scripts? Who hates them? Yeah, it's okay to hate them, right? But just make them your own. Once you internalize them, you'll make them your own.
Yeah, I think that really makes sense for me. So thank you for saying that, because I'm one of those people that it sounds phony to me a little bit sometimes. So it's about internalizing, not memorizing. I like that.
Right. Okay, good. And get a partner and practice to memorize, right, until you got it. We're not going to role play, obviously. I want you to role play though. It's going to be important to master scripts, you know, and there's a lot of new ones now because of the climate and the environment that we're in right now. For those, and then we're going to go this really quick. When you go back into prospecting and calling, the office is supposed to have a do not call list. You're not supposed to be cold calling people. You should understand who you're calling and respect if they're on a do not call list. And, you know, they could potentially, you know, there's federal and state laws around that, right? So you just have to be careful. You want to make sure that you have permission to call. So, with that said, we'll go on that one. This one, yeah, we're not going to have an hour. We are not going to have an hour, but understanding contracts is important. Mike Civil in our office has a contract class, right? That's
Hey,
really
Donna.
good. Yep.
So that's the schedule for the rest of the day. So there's an Ignite daily schedule, and the first hour is the Ignite class. And what you're going through now we're not necessarily doing during Ignite, but it's what they're supposed to focus on for the rest of the day. And I put the daily schedule in the chat room.
Perfect. Okay, so contracts are important and knowing your success, and there you go. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, aha moments? Quiet group. You guys are easy. No comments. Laura came on. Laura, you came on and they got shy all of a sudden.
I've been on the whole time, you guys.
Oh.
I've just been hidden.
Oh, there you go. So we're all good? No questions? Well, I'm here. If anybody absolutely has any questions or needs help with anything, feel free to reach out. I'm in the San Jose office, and I would definitely set time aside to help you with anything you might need. Go ahead, Maggie.
A quick comment. This is great to be able to hear what other people are doing. Is there any ongoing masterminds that like once a month we can get together and say, I tried this, it didn't work, or this worked better than that? Like we can share ideas for marketing?
There is
It's a great idea, Maggie. I would reach out to Elaine and then she start with Elaine and talk to her about that. It's a great idea.
Okay.
Great idea. And I'm more than willing to share my samples of what I've been doing. So if you want to see.
It's certainly something that we could talk about adding with our 3 offices is some sort of mastermind. So yeah,
Definitely.
good idea.
Anything else? We're good. Allison, good luck in Willow Glen. It's going to happen. Don't worry. It's going to do it. You're going to do it.
Thank you, Donna.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Everybody have a great day. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. See you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Be safe.